Among all the congratulations we got with our pregnancy announcement, there were a few people who said, "What took you so long?" And believe me, they weren't the only ones. My parents and in-laws thought the exact same thing. But believe it or not, Mike and I actually intentionally wanted our kids to be 3 years apart. And in this video, I'll explain why. Now before I begin, let me just say I am not here to judge. Whenever you chose to space your kids or choose to space your kids is really between you, your partner, and God. And I believe anytime a child visits our womb, it is a celebration, it is a miracle, and it's good. Having said that, I did feel really passionate about spacing my kids 3 years apart, and here is why. The first reason I wanted to do it is for my body. You know, it takes a lot out of a woman to create life. 9 months this baby is growing and really pulling from our reserves of calcium, magnesium, our fatty acids, our fat soluble vitamins. It takes a lot to build life like that. Not to mention the aftermath when you're taking care of the baby and nursing around the clock and getting up in the middle of the night and all that. It takes a lot out of our body. So just for that wear and tear reason alone, I really wanted to take my time. I also had the goal of nursing Griffin for 2 solid years because based on the research that I had done, that is the peak time length for the benefits for the mother and for the child. And I know many women that got pregnant before that time and their milk supply really diminished and they weren't able to continue nursing. I also know other mothers that wanted to continue nursing once they got pregnant and they started having uterine contractions and things that were kind of getting scary when you're newly pregnant. The second reason is Weston A. Price, who recommends a 3-year gap between children for both the child and the parents' emotional and physical well-being. Now, if you don't know about Weston A. Price, he's a dentist who traveled the world in the early 1900s, and he studied the cultures with the highest longevity rates. And what he found in these areas is that there was almost a social taboo of mothers having kids any earlier than 3 years apart. They instinctively knew what science now supports, that having your children too close together can cause issues for that second child, from low birth weight to learning disabilities to other health conditions. And the third reason is my friends told me to wait. You see, I have a lot of friends that had kids exactly 2 years apart, and they said it was really tough. And that's because that 2-year-old still needs diaper changes and to be fed, and he's still kind of a baby. And they just said it was really, really demanding and hard. You see, Griffin at 3 will be potty trained, he'll be able to feed himself, dress himself, he might even help out a little bit. Now don't get me wrong, having kids 3 years apart does have its disadvantages. For one, you can have fewer kids. You either got to start a lot earlier, you just don't have as much time. Now Mike and I always knew we wanted about 2 kids, so it worked out well for us, but if you wanted a really big family, this might be harder with waiting 3 years in between. The other thing is I've noticed that the kids aren't usually as close emotionally because they're on such different wavelengths. So that age gap can make a difference in terms of the bonding of the kids. And the third thing is, it's been so long since I've been getting up multiple times in the middle of the night and cluster nursing and changing 12 diapers a day. Getting back into that is going to be a culture shock. But if you have kids a lot closer together, you're kind of in that routine, you're doing diapers anyways, and it just may be easier to roll with it. So there you have it. Those are my reasons and some of the disadvantages of waiting 3 years in between kids. Would love to hear from you. How many years are between your kids? Did you have a certain number in mind? What do you think about child spacing? Share with us in the comments below. And thanks for tuning in.